Hey there, I'm Kelly. I'm 31 years old and work in marketing. My job keeps me busy, and I'm doing pretty well, clients are happy, and I'm often leading big campaigns that get great results. To most people, I look like I have everything together with my polished outfits and professional attitude. But there's a lot more to my story that most people don't see. Let me take you back a bit. When I was 17, something really hard happened. My mom passed away suddenly. It was just me and my dad after that, trying to figure out life without her. Those first few months were really tough. I felt lost, and everything just felt heavy. But my dad really stepped up in a big way. He wasn't just there, he was all in. He came to all my soccer games, helped me with homework, and even tried to braid my hair. The hair braiding thing was a bit of a struggle for him, but he tried his best. Over time, we became this strong team, just Dad and me facing the world together. Fast forward to last week. I was out for coffee with my best friend, Lauren. We were chatting about life when she suddenly brought up a topic I've been avoiding, my love life, or rather, the lack of it. Kelly, she said, when are you going to get back out there? It's been, for years since Jack. I almost choked on my latte at the mention of his name. Jack was my last serious relationship, and let's just say it didn't end well. In the beginning, he seemed perfect. He'd bring me flowers, surprise me with thoughtful gestures, and made me feel special. But things changed. Over time, he became really possessive. He'd text me constantly, get upset if I hung out with my friends, and even made comments about my work clothes, saying they were too revealing. It was like he wanted to control every part of my life. Lauren's face turned serious, and she nodded in understanding. Yeah, I remember, she said. It was like he couldn't handle you being your own person. I gave Lauren a grateful smile. She had been there for me through the worst of it, always ready with late-night ice cream runs and words of encouragement. Thanks to her support, I found the strength to end things with Jack. Since then, I've focused on work, and things have been great, especially since Paul joined the team. Paul is one of my coworkers, and he's honestly a wonderful person. He's supportive, always has my back during meetings, and I've caught him looking at me a few times. But even with someone as kind as Paul around, I just don't feel ready to jump into another relationship. As we were sitting there, my phone buzzed. It was a message from my dad. He's always quick with a text or call, and it's always nice to hear from him. Hey, sweetie, got a minute? He asked. I replied, for you always. What's up? He paused for a moment before saying he had some news, and I could almost hear the excitement in his voice. Life is full of surprises, the good and the tough, but with my dad, my friends, and the lessons I've learned, I know I'll figure it out one step at a time. I'm engaged. I almost dropped my phone as I hear the news from my dad. Dad, that's amazing. Tell me everything. I say, feeling a mix of surprise and joy. He laughs, sounding happier and younger than he has in years.
Her name's Julie, he says.
She's 42, works in publishing. We met at that charity golf tournament last month. You know, the one you couldn't make it to. As we chat, I realize how genuinely happy I am for him. My dad has always been there for me, so it feels great to see him this excited. So, when's the big day? I ask, curious. We're thinking about fall, he replies. Then he adds, actually, I was hoping you could help with some of the planning. Are you kidding? I'd love to help. I say eagerly. It feels nice to be part of his happiness and to know I can support him like he's supported me over the years. Over the next few weeks, though, I start to feel something is off. Whenever I ask him questions about the wedding details, he's oddly vague. He avoids my questions about things like the guest list or who the best man will be. Don't worry, sweetie, he says. Julie's handling most of it. I try to brush it off and not think too much about it. But I can't shake this nagging feeling in the back of my mind. It's the same feeling I had when my relationship with Jack started going downhill. But this is my dad, my rock. He wouldn't keep secrets from me, would he? One afternoon, I'm out for lunch with my coworker Paul. He's chatting away about a new campaign strategy, but I'm only half listening, lost in thought about my dad's strange behavior. Suddenly, Paul waves a hand in front of my face, snapping me out of it. Earth to Kelly, he says, smiling. You okay? You seem a million miles away. Just as I'm about to respond, I hear a snippet of conversation from the table behind us. Can you believe Noah's having his daughter's ex as his best man? Talk about awkward. My fork slips from my hand, clattering onto my plate. Paul looks at me, concerned. Kelly, what's wrong? I raise my hand, signaling him to wait, my heart pounding as I strain to hear more. I heard it was pretty messy between them. Jack, right? Guess he and Noah are close now. The room starts to spin as my mind races. I can barely hear Paul over the noise in my head. Jack, my dad's best man? Before I know it, I'm out of the restaurant and in my car, driving straight to my dad's place. I burst through the door without knocking. My dad comes out of his study surprised. Kelly, what's wrong? Is it true? I ask, my voice shaking. Is Jack your best man? I watch the color drain from his face. How did you? He starts, but his voice trails off. So, it is true, I say, feeling sick. How could you? He tries to calm me down. Now, Kelly, let's not blow this out of proportion. That was years ago.
People change.
Jack and I have become good friends through a new business venture. He's not the same person he was. I can't believe what I'm hearing. So, your new friendship is more important than what he put me through? Oh, come on, he says dismissively. That was just youthful drama. You're both adults now. Can't you just move past it? Without another word, I turn and walk out, ignoring him as he calls after me. I drive around for hours, not really going anywhere, just trying to clear my head. Eventually, I end up at Lauren's house. She opens the door, sees the look on my face, and without a word, pulls me into a hug. Oh, honey, what happened? She asks softly. Through my tears, I tell her everything. I spill out the whole story, from my dad's engagement to the shocking news about Jack being his best man. Lauren listens closely, her face getting more and more serious as I talk. When I'm done, she shakes her head, saying, "That manipulative jerk," under her breath. Both of them. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's a message from Paul, asking if I'm okay. I text him back, inviting him over to Lauren's place. When he arrives, I go through the whole story again. Paul usually has a smile for everything, but this time, he's dead serious. Kelly, he says, I hate to say it, but your dad's behavior? It's toxic. Lauren nods in agreement. He's making you doubt yourself, honey, she says gently. That's called gaslighting. He's trying to make you feel guilty for something that's not your fault. But he's my dad, I say, my voice barely a whisper. He's always been there for me. I don't understand why he's doing this now. Paul puts a hand on my shoulder. I know he's your dad, but right now, he's choosing someone who hurt you badly over you. That's not okay, Kelly. They're right, and deep down I know it. The dad I thought I knew wouldn't make this choice, wouldn't brush off everything Jack put me through. I take a shaky breath and finally say, I can't go to that wedding. I just can't. Lauren gives my hand a reassuring squeeze. You don't have to, she says. We're here for you, no matter what. Paul nods. Your mental health comes first. If your dad can't see that, then that's his problem. As I sit there, surrounded by friends who truly understand me, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders. It doesn't make everything better, but for the first time, I feel like I can breathe. This whole situation is wrong, and I know now that I don't have to let anyone, even family, control my life. I'm done letting toxic people, even those close to me, have power over my happiness. The next few weeks are rough. My dad doesn't take my decision well at all. He goes online, posting about how I'm a selfish, ungrateful daughter who can't be happy for her poor, widowed father finally finding love. Suddenly, my phone starts buzzing with messages from family members I haven't heard from in years. They're all saying things like, how could you do this to your dad after everything he's done for you, and you're tearing the family apart. I want to scream. They don't know the full story. They don't understand what I'm going through or what Jack did to me. Work isn't much better. I start noticing people whispering in the break room when I walk by. Some go silent as soon as I enter. It feels like high school all over again, like I'm the outsider, the one everyone is talking about. One day, I'm just trying to grab a coffee, keeping my head down, hoping the whispers will stop. But I remind myself of the truth. I have people who support me, people who truly care about me. I'm stronger than this, and I'm not going to let anyone, not even my dad, tear me down. When I hear Nicole's voice, catching bits of her gossip, it's like a punch in the stomach. She's saying she's just jealous because her ex moved up to her dad. The mug I'm holding slips from my hand, crashing onto the floor, pieces scattering everywhere. Everyone turns to look, and I freeze, feeling the heat of embarrassment spread over me. I feel like I can't move, caught in this humiliating moment. Then, out of nowhere, Paul steps in. "All right, show's over," he says loudly to the room. "Don't you all have work to do?" His voice is firm, and everyone quickly looks away, going back to whatever they were doing. Paul gently leads me back to my office and shuts the door behind us. "Are you okay?" he asks softly, his eyes filled with concern. I shake my head, trying not to cry. "I don't know how much more of this I can take," I whisper, feeling the weight of it all. Paul is quiet for a moment, then he says, "My sister went through something a lot like this. Her ex was terrible, and when she finally left him, half of our family took his side instead of hers." "What did she do?" I ask, desperate for any advice. "She went to therapy," he says simply. "It helped her see she wasn't crazy and that she deserved better." 5 days later, I find myself sitting across from Dr. Shirley, a therapist. I tell her everything, pouring out my heart in a way I haven't in a long time. She listens closely, making me feel seen and understood. Some days, it's hard. I think about apologizing just to make everything stop, to end the family drama. But then I remember how it felt with Jack, how I lost myself in that toxic relationship. I'm not going back to that. Not ever again. Paul has been incredible through all of this. At work, he shuts down the gossip whenever he hears it, and on tough mornings, he brings me coffee without saying a word. There's definitely something special between us, but right now I know I'm not ready for anything new. I need time to heal and find myself first. As my dad's wedding day gets closer, the pressure on me only grows. Julie, his fiancée, even comes to my apartment one evening. "It would mean so much to your father if you came to the wedding," she pleads. "Can't you put aside your issues for one day?" I take a deep breath, steadying myself. "Julie, I'm sorry, but no. My mental health is important to me, and I can't compromise that anymore." For the first time, I feel firm in my decision. That night, I'm scrolling through my phone when an ad pops up, "Discover yourself in Singapore." I pause, staring at it, and suddenly I know exactly what I need to do. The next morning, I walk into my boss's office. "I'd like to take some personal leave," I say. 3 weeks, starting on the 19th. My boss looks at me over her glasses. "Isn't the 17th your father's wedding day?" she asks. "Yes," I say, keeping my voice steady. "It's time I did something for myself." She nods, understanding in her eyes. "Approved. You've more than earned it." I book my tickets to Singapore that afternoon, and as I click the confirm button, a huge weight lifts off my shoulders. For the first time in a long time, I feel excited, like a new chapter is finally beginning. That evening, I meet Lauren and Paul for drinks. When I tell them about my plan, their eyes go wide with surprise. For the first time, I feel like I'm doing something just for me, and it feels amazing. When I share my plans with Lauren and Paul, Lauren squeals, "Girl, that's amazing." Paul gives me a proud smile and says, "I'm really proud of you, Kelly. This is a big step." We all raise our glasses, toasting to new beginnings and friends who stand by you no matter what. Stepping off the plane in Singapore, I feel like a whole new person. 3 weeks in this beautiful place have brought me peace. All the chaos and drama from the past few months now feel like a distant memory. As I'm waiting for my luggage, my phone buzzes with a message from Lauren. "Total disaster," she writes. "Your dad got drunk and spilled all his secrets. Turns out he wasn't so perfect." Julie walked out before they even said, "I do's." And guess what? That business deal? Jack messed it up completely. I hang up the phone feeling nothing. No anger, no satisfaction. Just peace. I realize it's the closure I needed. Back at home, the months fly by, and work is going really well. I finish a huge presentation, and shortly after, my boss calls me into her office. She smiles and says, "Kelly, we're promoting you to creative director. You've earned it." I can hardly believe it. All my hard work is paying off. One day, I give a talk to some interns about handling challenges in the workplace. Afterward, a young woman comes up to me, her eyes shining with gratitude. "Your story inspired me," she says. "I realized I don't have to stay with my toxic boyfriend." "Thank you." I'm touched, realizing that sharing my journey can help others. Soon, I start mentoring young professionals, sharing the lessons I've learned. It's healing in ways I never expected. Then, out of the blue, my dad shows up at my apartment. He looks older, tired, and defeated. "Kelly, honey, can we talk?" he asks. I let him in but keep my distance. He sighs, looking down. "I'm sorry. I made mistakes. But Jack, he really manipulated me and Julie." "Stop," I say, holding up my hand. "You're still not taking responsibility for your own choices." He deflates, looking sad. "I just want my little girl back." I take a deep breath, steadying myself. "Dad, I'm not that little girl anymore. I'm a woman who's learned to value herself. I don't need your approval, and I don't need you in my life anymore." I smile gently, but firmly. "I wish you the best, but this is goodbye." Time passes, and soon I'm celebrating my 33rd birthday. Lauren and Paul surprise me with a party, and as I look around at all the smiling faces, I feel overwhelmed with gratitude. I have friends who truly care, and I finally feel free from the past. While cutting the cake, Lauren pulls me aside with a mischievous grin. "Hey, did you hear? Jack was arrested for fraud, and your dad's business is being audited. Guess that perfect life wasn't so perfect after all." I just smile. For once, I don't feel affected by any of it. I'm surrounded by people who love and support me, and I'm proud of the person I've become. I don't need to look back. My life is finally moving forward, and it feels amazing. I pause, my fork halfway to my mouth. Lauren notices and asks, "You okay?" I think for a moment before answering. "Yeah, I am." I don't feel happy about everything that's happened, but I know that sometimes people get what they deserve. What goes around really does come around. Just 3 years ago, I was lost and scared, letting other people tell me what I was worth. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and I let others make choices for me. But today, I'm a different person. I'm here, surrounded by real love and true friends who support me. I'm proud of who I've become, and I'm grateful for the boundaries I've learned to set. I raise my glass to make a toast. To all of you who have been part of this journey, I say, smiling at my friends, thank you. They all smile back, and I feel so grateful for them. Then I add, and to anyone out there who's going through a hard time, hang in there. Things do get better. You're stronger than you think. So, that's the end of the story. But I still have a question. Was I right to cut my dad out of my life completely, or should I have given him another chance? It's a tough call, and honestly, I still wonder if I made the right choice. On one hand, family is family, and we're often told we should forgive them no matter what. But on the other hand, toxic behavior is toxic, no matter who it comes from. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have kept your distance, or would you have tried to mend things? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.